Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim or Cimnanya, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. Today, we'll be talking something very important, and this video actually Tucker Carlson started acting like he has never heard something like this, like what this young man was telling him. And you all already know how, when black people talk, we are loud, right? When we smile, we are loud. When we complain about something, oh, you are raising your voice on us and all that. So it is we always having to pretend or having to comport ourselves when they are around. Why? Because we do not want them to see us in a particular way. And you all already know that during slavery, I mean, how it all happened. When a slave acts somehow, you are supposed to be punished this way and all that. So a lot of black, like to this very moment, because I see a lot of them in places of work, when you try to explain yourself or when you try to say something straight, they say that you are shouting. So we are always shouting. Then we get into something, just like when we walk into stores to buy something, you see them following you around for no reason. Why? Because they have already conditioned their mind in a certain way, right? Because why would you be following me around in a store? So with that, there are so many things that it just like them always telling us that when they see a black person, they are always frightened. They are always scared. Even when they see a 3, 4, 5 year old child, they are still frightened. Why are you scared? What is making you scared? Let's get into this video.
And I grew up in a world where overt expressions of that were not acceptable. You weren't allowed to generalize on the basis of race because the assumption was each person is an individual. I don't understand when it became okay to generalize about racial groups.
I think while some people have the luxury to be raised only being told to look at individual people, it should be no surprise to you that black people, in particular black men, have been taught forever that they have to be careful how they behave around white people. That the way they behave will be interpreted differently, that when they misbehave, it'll be punished differently, that if they laugh too loud, if they walk into a nice store. So with all due respect, Tucker, what was true for you has never been true for lots of people.
I mean, there are a lot of ways to respond to that. One, on a factual basis, and in truth, in a lot of places in this country, the main threat that African Americans face is not from white people, as you perfectly well know.
So I first want to respond to the first comment. I think is while it's true that, of course, people of color face threats from other people of color, it's also true that white people face the overwhelming threat from white people. That is,
right.
People face threats from who they live beside. So
That's
I
right.
find
exactly.
I think it's fair to point out that we oughtn't be distasteful and say things like, well, the great threat. It does feed a certain uglier narrative that we don't want.
But why does the truth ever feed a, quote, ugly narrative?
It is deeply suspicious that people are so quick to say things like the main threat facing African Americans is other African Americans, but you never hear anybody say the main threat facing white people is white people.
So you say, for example, I will have to discuss with my boys whether they can truly be friends with white people. History has provided little reason for people of color to trust white people.
And the argument I make is, look, in a country where it turns out that when the most vulnerable people of color are under threat, those who they count on are nowhere to be seen. If we have a president who marshals forces of hatred and anger and divisiveness and frankly just danger, if the people who call themselves your friends are not going to push back against that, then maybe you can tell me why it is I should trust those people. When those who count themselves as your friend see that others put you in danger,
right.
It is their opportunity to prove they're your friend. It's fine to be friendly with them, but these are not your friends. We live in a country where we oughtn't pretend that these divides have not consistently been on racial grounds. And we see that over and over and over.
That's true. I agree.
When black people are in danger from, say, addiction, we get policing. When white people are in danger from addiction, they get rehabilitation. When black people don't have jobs, we get stories about why we're making the wrong choices. When white people don't have jobs, we get a presidential campaign about the forgotten class.
Oye, mira, so the Alabama governor signed a bill prohibiting DEI programs at schools and state agencies. I'm going to tell you something. Whether you're a Republican lawmaker or a Republican who votes on these laws and continue to vote these decrepit dinosaurs back into office, there's one thing you need to know. You can pass however many laws that you want to avoid hearing these words that trigger you. Words like diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. But here's the reality. I'm coming for every university that continues to pass laws like this. This is why I developed my ethical AI, Justice AI. Because universities and students who are not equipped with tools to help them navigate around EDIB, no matter what it's called, no matter how it transforms in terminology over the next decade, the next 2 decades, they will have the tools to learn how to navigate and do what they have to do in this space. They can pass however many laws that they want, but we're not going anywhere. If you're signed into ChatGPT 4 and you want to use Justice AI, go to my website. I'm also hosting masterclasses on it. Visit my website, modatlasmedia.com, and find out more. We got to stick together in this.
So this is all I got from this, and like he said, we really do have to stick together on this, and not until, we push until something happens, right? Because it looks like our voices are not loud enough, we are not speaking up enough and all that. And the fact that the new N word for the new N word is now DEI, and it's really amazing how these people wake up every day to they wake up with different names for us. But then let's get into the first video, right? And why was Dr. Carlson acting like this young man was speaking in parables or he was speaking in tongue? It's amazing how he was all acting like he doesn't know what he was talking about, or he has never heard something like this, or this is very new to him. This is not new to him. That was just him acting, and you all already know how scared they are all the time when they see Black people. They are always threatened. They are frightened. They are scared for their lives. Why are you scared of your fellow human being? Because that is the excuses we wake up every day when something happens, right? And you hear that they are scared for their lives. They are even scared for a newborn child. As long as you look like me, they are definitely absolutely going to be scared of you. Because I do not see how scared a cops with a police officer sees a child playing with a mobile phone. When did a mobile phone turn to Pe0ple, right? So that's why I am always like, what is frightening them? What is making them scared? Now let's get into the idea of Black people not trusting colored people. Do I blame anybody? I do not blame anybody, because history has actually warned Black people not to trust anyone, right? But if you decided to get loose and not be woke, that it's your problem. Then when you get back from the things that happened back then, how Black people were, most especially Black men, were set up, right? By a colored woman, right? And then you see them like mass incarceration, ending up in prison and the rest of it, and never come out. Some of them were what they said about people that look like me. That was never the truth, right? And when you see all this happen often, and the fact that they knew that most women were lying, but choose not to investigate it because we have to just send you away, or we just do not want them in their community, just that weird mentality, or just because that I do not fancy you people around me, right? Because I have seen so many Black men that got missing. Why? Because they were seeing colored women. And then sometimes I am always like, how can you be a smart young man and you notice that your life is in danger because you are seeing a colored woman and you do not take cover? Some things you are not Romeo and Juliet. Your brain and everything should never leave you at any time, right? Some things are, when they say we live to fight again, you are not just going to go and fight and die, right? You use your brain when things are not, you have to really be smart and all that. But most of the things that happened to people that look like me was not because they were not smart, but because they were all framed. So when people say that we do not trust you people and all that, I do not blame them. And how do you make them trust it? Nobody is even asking you to make us trust you and the rest of it. And if you choose to trust them, that it's your problem. Because I see a lot of people from their jobs and all of that probably being fired because they decided to trust their colleague that is palm colored. Man, you don't ever try that. And then let's get into, like, when black people do not have job or trying to get job or trying to agitate for equal pay, right, in their places of work, and they choose not to pay, and then they term you lazy. Why? Because you ask for pay. Is there anything wrong with somebody wanting a raise for the job he or she is doing? Absolutely great. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But you know what? They are going to say that we are lazy. And then for DEI, anybody that decided that this year, election year, that you choose to vote against your own interest, trust me, black women, black people are not saving democracy this year. If we mess up this year, we stick in that mess till another 4 years. So I want you all to get this into your score, that if you mess up, if anything happens, we are all going to be in the same mess till whenever there is another president or something, or another election, right? Because they are already used to doing it and coming back to say that we are sorry, can you help us save the democracy? We have no strength in us anymore. We do not know how to speak again, because I actually said that black people are very outspoken, that it is not in their culture to speak. When it is in your culture to do bad things, when it is in your culture to vote against your own interest, vote against your own interest, we sit on it till the next 4 years. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.